Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here, and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. So Dr. L plus Rachel is finally here, and everyone's super excited about him. So let's take a look at where he currently ranks on the tier list. Now, if you guys didn't catch the news from Pridewin, they have updated and revamped their tier list. Okay, we don't see the single target blast all that anymore. It's basically just strictly based on the performance of the unit in Memory Chaos as well as Pure Fiction, the two end game modes. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty much all in together, the three categories, and you can see the final ranking is S for Memory Chaos at E0 and C for Pure Fiction, because you know that's all about AoE. So let's take a look at the current suggested build and how good is he actually. So of course we'll also in our channel dive into the CM Bros guide and their team compositions, so that'll be in a separate long video. But if you're looking at the West and the global side of things, of course check out Guoba, who's participated in the TimaeuSS Cup. He's a very good and talented player, and also Susho, who's always writing the guide for Pridewin. So Dr. L plus Ratio is very strong single target damage dealer. Now he's pretty much at the ceiling for single target. We're looking at, of course, E0. But the damage he does is insane, and his playstyle, the follow-up attack, is really cool, because with the release of Tobas, we're really looking at several team play compositions that are just surrounding a specific theme, right? So we'll have the dot, the follow-up, the kill everything with Jingju and Dang Han. They're outliers. So everyone will get Dr. L plus Ratio from 1.6 to the till the start of 2.1. So when I first saw this, I was like, no way HoYoverse is giving us a really strong free limited 5-star to everyone. So we all know who their favorite child is. But taking a look, debuffs are very important. So of course this synergy with Topaz is going to be insane, of course, and also with units such as Welt is going to be really good, or other units like Pela with the debuff, right? His kit itself has a lot of follow-up attacks, making gears such as the follow-up set really strong as well, and also he gets massive amounts of crit and crit stat as part of his own kit as well. So looking at the quick summary of the pros and cons: insane amounts of single target damage, follow-up style that gives absurd amounts of toughness, and also really good for energy, because every time you do follow-up, right, you gain energy, and we saw it with initially with Kafka and how her follow-up attacks really helps with her energy gen. And also, yeah, like I talked about, crit value is really high with him, and even free to play. That's right, free to play Lycons are going to be really good. A 4-star Lycon at S1 is actually pretty decent in comparison to his own Lycon. Now, this is the breakdown of the Dr. Ratio's damage in here in the build statistics. If you compare the two sets, so I'll just summarize it for you. The best quote-unquote calculation from the two sets is going to be the combination of the follow-up and the hacker space, which is the Grand Duke, that's the follow-up set, and the hacker space, giving him the speed needed to reach that 160 to trigger easily trigger the additional 18% damage. So 6 more than the 12% if you're at 135. Now, of course, like I said, we'll go over the CM Bros guide as well to see what their builds are. But in terms of gear relics, I know they always like to go for the Quantum set on their DPS. It's just a one-size-fit-all, and defense debuff is defense pen as well as always super strong, especially if you have units that offers defense or a pen such as Pela, right? And Pela is a debuffer as well, so this this is going to be a super good fit. But other choices, you can go with the imaginary set to give more crit and more crit damage against debuffed enemies, or you can just go with the full musketeer or follow up force set. But ideally you just gain the 20% from that follow up, and everything else you try to get either from the imaginary 10% or the speed from the 2-piece offset in another set of gear. So this is the comparison. And in terms of the body, if you can forward it, always go for crit damage chest piece, right? If you have really good crit rate from your other sets of gears, crit damage chest piece is going to offer a lot more, and you always want that 2 to 1. Make sure that you get the ratio for Dr. Ratio. Speed boots, Now, there is a world where if you can hit 135 with attack percentage boosts, where that's okay. But since in their guide, they're going for 135, 160 build, and not everyone's going to have a +9, +12 speed substat on their gear. Most players, free-to-play players, will be going for speed. Planetary Sphere, attack percentage, or imaginary damage orb. Usually, the typing orb will always come on top because you don't get a lot of these as sources as your part of your substats or gear, so you can only roll attack percentage as your subs in some of the items, right? So you always go for the damage typing, but it's not a huge DPS loss, so you can go for that. And Linker Rope, of course, attack percentage. So this is your your true bread and butter damage dealer. Now, taking a look at the Lycone choices, of course, we've got his own signature Lycone being the best for himself. That's always the case. You can see the crit damage it provides, and also crit damage against debuff enemies, and also using ultimate, which additional damage. And look how many text is included in this. Okay, so obviously this is going to be the best in slot, but there are other choices. If you pulled on Topaz banner, and you got the Topaz Lycone, and if you got 2 copies, this actually stacks. It's pretty crazy that it stacks. Now, if you have 2 S1, one for Topaz, who's also a very strong unit on the Dr. Ratio team, then this is the best in my opinion, even over Dr. Ratio's Lycone, right? 1 on Topaz and 1 on Dr. Ratio. However, not everyone I think has that option. So what are your free-to-play options? You do have the S5 cruising in the Stellar Sea. This is from the Herta store. You can get that, and you can easily S5 it. And again, one of the best hunts options, free-to-play options for the free-to-play players. So yeah, you can throw that in. Otherwise, you can see it even performs better than In the Night. Oh my god, they're even better than Sally's Lycone. So yes, just throw that on there. You can get it to S5 easily. I think for Dr. Ratio is basically a godsend for free-to-play players, right? Because you have the units free, of course, and you have the free S5 Hertacon. So it's very nice. And in terms of the trace priorities, as a damage dealer, you pretty much need to max everything, especially if you have follow-up attack as well. But here's the priority if you do care about that. And in terms of synergy, Topaz is indeed one of the best. All right, and the going on applying 2 debuff is also viable because you want multiple debuffs, but I think that's copium at that point. Pela, Silver Wolf are also viable, and yeah, this is basically looking at the breakdown. Of course, I'll do one for CN as well in terms of the guide. Let me know your thoughts. Did you enjoy Dr. L plus Ratio now that you've picked him up? Honestly, insane that we get this as a free unit, and with how good the unit is, mind-boggling. Mind-boggling indeed. Anyhow, it's Miles here, and let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye now.